Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, June 2nd, 2017.
Commissioner Rivas, Repenning James, Davis, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Cecile Buncio, Sanitation.
Good morning, Edmund Yu, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, John Olinger, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Dr. Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we have no speaker cards under general public comment. We have no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. We did receive speaker cards on items number 10, number 17, and number 18.
Okay. We'll close general public comment as well as the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. The assessment hearings are agenda items 1 through 8. Assessment hearings for council districts 4, 6, 5, 7, 12, 13, and 10, not necessarily in that order, all for council hearing set for June 7th, 2017. Mr. Flamenco?
Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting. A notice for items 1 through 8 was mailed to all affected benefiting property owners on May 24, 2017, informing them that the original scheduled board hearing of May 31st has been rescheduled for today, June 2nd. Items 1 and 2 pertain to lighting districts which we are creating in conjunction with Bureau of Street Lighting initiated LED conversion projects. Only public parcels are impacted. No private parcels are included in these two lighting districts. Items 3 to 8 pertain to lighting districts which we are creating in conjunction with private development projects. Ballots for items 1 through 8 were mailed on April 19, 2017. Ballots for items 1 through 8 must be received by the City Clerk's office by next Wednesday, June 7th. We have not received any objections to date on items 1 through 8. We are requesting for the board to adopt and forward items 1 through 8 forthwith to City Council.
No objections on 1 through 8. Any questions on 1 through 8? No questions on 1 through 8. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda items 1 through 8, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda items 1 through 8. Any issues sending 1 through 8 forthwith? We will send 1 through 8 forthwith. We have a presentation this morning. Alfred Mata, 2017 High School Bridge Building Contest Recognition from the Bureau of Engineering. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioner James and the rest of the Board of Public Works. Again, Alfred Mata with the Bureau of Engineering. And as you stated today, we're here to celebrate the 16th annual Los Angeles Regional High School Bridge Building Contest, which was co-sponsored by the Bureau of Engineering and the Public Affairs Office in collaboration with the American Society of Civil Engineers, Cal State University Los Angeles, and the Cal State University Los Angeles American Society of Civil Engineers Student Chapter. The objective of the bridge competition is to build the most efficient bridge. So the students break up into teams of 2 to 3 students, and they design and construct these bridges. To determine which bridge is the most efficient, they load each of the bridges till they fail. And the most efficient bridge is the one that holds the most weight, and divided by its weight versus its weight. So that's the highest ratio. That would be the most efficient bridge. So we had a team of all the dedicated high school teachers that participated in this started a curriculum with their students leading up to the competition. And we had 22 engineers from the Bureau of Engineering that participated as mentors in preparation for the contest 3 months leading up to the competition, which was held at Cal State LA on March 30th of 2017. A total of 9 schools participated from 5 council districts. More than 50 students attended the regional contest. Today we have the top 2 winners here. The winners in efficiency were Christian C. and Adalia Mendoza from Belmont High School. They were the second place finisher. Their name was the Lucky Charms, and their instructor was Mr. Almer C. And the first place finishers were a team called the Fluffy Pandas, and their efficiency rating was 2,253. They're from Robert H. Lewis High School, and the students are Stephen Moreno, Brian Gutierrez, and Wilbur Gardado, and their instructor is Dr. Harold Holcomb. All of them are here in attendance. At this time, following the competition, the top 2 teams went to an international competition held in Dallas on April 21st. 4 students attended, along with both teachers and 1 Bureau of Engineering mentor. The Fluffy Pandas came in 4th place, and the Lucky Charms came in 10th place. So this time I'd like to invite up Stephen Moreno and Christian C. to say a few words about their experience.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As you've heard, my name is Steven. I go to Robert H. Lewis High School. I'm a senior this year. I'm going to be graduating next week. Thank God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I plan on going to community college to get my GE classes out of the way and then transfer to a 4-year and hopefully pursue either film and photography or civil engineering. I placed first here in LA in the regional competition, and I placed 5th place. It wasn't 4th; it was 5th place. Yeah, but thank you. But it was 5th place, and it was fun. We had a great time in Dallas. We went a day early and went sightseeing and had some great food. And that was great. And that was really fun. I want to thank the Board of Public Works for sponsoring, and I want to thank our mentors, the staff from my school, my teammates, my principal. Everyone's really helped out a lot. I couldn't have made it here by myself. This is my 3rd year doing this. All 3 years I've gone to internationals, so it was great. It's been a great ride, unbelievable experience. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations, by the way.
Good morning to Public Works and all to the guests. I'm Christian Sai from Belmont High School. I was the 2nd place team in CalState LA, and I went to the International Bridge Competition in Dallas. My experience in the bridge building competition was amazing. It taught me how to be creative and applied engineering skills. Our mentors from the Bureau of Engineering guided us and taught us how to create efficient bridges. In the future, I'm planning to take civil engineering in college, and in this competition, it helped me realize the challenges and triumphs of the civil engineers face in their careers. I want to thank the City of Los Angeles for all their support, our teachers, our mentors, and our Board of Public Works. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything? Well, we'll start with Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Alfred, thank you for this great presentation. Gentlemen, Christian and Stephen, congratulations. You are repeat, like you're three-peat, right? Incredible. Both three-peats. Excellent, or repeat winners. Congratulations and to your work. This bridge building contest is not just, sort of an outreach. It's really a pipeline. It's really speaks to the field. So I do want to thank our Bureau of Engineering, the Public Affairs Office, ASCE, Cal State LA, the Bureau of Engineering mentors. Are there any mentors in the house this morning? If you're a mentor, raise your hand. Thank you for going out and spending the time at the high schools. I know it was just as enriching for you as it was for the students. For the educators, raise your hands if you're an educator and you're a teacher in some of the high schools. All right, thank you, sir, for allowing your students to be mentored and engage in this wonderful program. As you know, our city, it continues to build bridges. And one day, we want you to build one of those bridges. Congratulations.
We've got a bridge on the agenda this morning. Commissioner, 2 actually. Yeah, so 1 for each of you. Commissioner Davis.
You have both thanked the Board of Public Works and those of us here in the Bureau of Engineering, but we want to thank you for taking full advantage of this opportunity. It took a whole village to get you to come before us to talk about your experience, and obviously it starts at home with a supportive family that you have had to allow you to study and do the things that you needed to do to get to this point, and obviously your teachers who have really guided you along the way. And then you've had the opportunity to work with people absolutely in the field, much better than an internship in many ways, because you were then able to take that knowledge and skill that you've learned through this village and then go and compete to see what it's like to explore with other students like yourselves, your other peers, who have had the same experience. And the reason why we thank you is because throughout this encounter, you have come up to be recognized nationally for the work that you have done. And I think the lesson that we all go away with is that when you start out to pursue a certain goal, it is important to have the determination and the commitment and the dedication to complete that task. So as you come before us today, you show us what it's like to be able to complete a goal that you have set for yourself. And we hope that this lesson in and of itself becomes something that you will repeat throughout life. So we appreciate you thanking us, but I want to, on behalf of the board, thank the both of you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Rivas.
No, I agree with Commissioner Davis. Thank you for participating. I know you don't have to. I don't think this is required at your school, right? So a lot of times we do things on our own time that we really like and that we're really passionate about. So thanks for joining us in this competition. I saw a video of it on somewhere, Facebook, YouTube, of this year's competition, and it seemed really exciting, and I recognized a lot of the mentors, so thank you, mentors from BOE. I encourage you to, one, keep in touch with your mentors. I think a lot of times we don't realize that those relationships in the future are going to get you internships, advice on how to apply for future jobs in engineering or in anything that you decide to do. And also, you know, continue to do this in wherever, if you're in community college or whatever college you go to, there's lots of engineering competitions and other things that you can participate in, and you already have experience. So you're a valued member and on one of those teams. You know, I studied engineering in college, and there was so many opportunities to do things like this at my college. So I hope that you look for them and continue to do this, and hopefully you'll come back and work for the City of LA. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas, MIT alum. Commissioner Repenning.
I just want to thank you guys for your hard work. I would say in some ways more than anything else in life, it is hard work that will get you to where you want to go in life. So continue, keep at it, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, Commissioner Penning. And I would just add briefly, you're both in high school and you were in Dallas. Well, I went to high school in Dallas, so or at least nearby in an adjacent, in a suburb of Dallas. And Reunion Tower, which is on both of your T-shirts, was under construction when I was in high school. And it, the one with the globe at the top. And even that bridge, which is near downtown as well, that was much more recent. I've lived here 30 years, but it's an example of the mark that engineers leave on a community. That has been the staple, Reunion Tower, the staple of the Dallas skyline ever since. And even when other people across the world look at major cities in the United States, that's a staple of a skyline that they consider. And you know, because of your work, the role that engineers have in that. So it is an amazing field to enter into. So congratulations on the work that you have already done at such a young age, and good luck in the future, and thank you for your participation in the program. To the mentors, we can't do it without you. It's a great reflection on our Bureau and on our department and on our city, so thank you. And the educators, we know how proud you all are, and thank you for your work that's reflected in the success of your students. So Alfred, thank you, sir.
Well, we have a couple more things to
Okay.
cover, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to introduce the ASC LA President, Julian Garcia, who's going to recognize the sponsors. We couldn't do all of this without the support of our sponsors.
Got to have the sponsors.
Yes. And then I will introduce all of the mentors as well, of the participants.
Good morning, Board. My name is Julian Garcia, and as you mentioned, I'm the president of the Metropolitan Los Angeles branch of the American Society of Civil Engineers. And one of the key aspects that we focus on is education and promoting our profession for the next generation. So we're very proud to be a part of this event, joining up with BOE every year to put this event together and kind of like get the next generation of engineers going. But as you all know, none of this can be done by ourselves, from buying supplies, from getting the students to where they need to go, from tying them with the mentors and supporting this event. This couldn't be done without the help of a lot of sponsors. So to that end, I wanted to recognize the organizations that and the companies that have been supporting us and helping us make this event a reality every year. So today I want to recognize HNTB Corporation. I believe Terrence Powell is here. Terrence is a member of HNTB, one of the companies that sponsors us every year and is very generous in helping us make this event a reality. So thank you. Skanska, Stacy, and Whitbeck is another sponsor. I don't believe they are present today, but again, they help make this event a reality. And Turner Construction Company also wanted to make sure they get recognized as well. Couldn't be here today either. But again, I look forward to working. We do this every year, and I look forward to doing it for many, many years to come. This is a great cooperation we have with the Bureau of Engineering that we hope to foster for years to come. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. So real quickly, I just want to recognize specifically the teachers, the participants, and our mentors. So we have Mr. Elmer C. from Belmont High School. You've already met Christian. Nadali Mendoza is also here. From Robert Lewis High School, we have Dr. Harold Holcomb, Stephen Moreno, Brian Gutierrez, and Wilbur Gardado. Did anybody make it from Cal State LA? I didn't meet anyone. No hands. Is there? Okay.
Cal State LA. Hi
LA's
there.
here.
Thank you. They will. Thank you. We appreciate the partnership with Cal State LA on many, many fronts.
And doing double duty as a mentor and a BOE employee and an ASCE representative is Julia Moy. And as well as our rest of our mentors, most of them are seated here in the front row. We've got Brian Powell, if you could stand up, Kristen Lai, Katrina Forbes, Mina Azarnia, Danny Tang, Justin Ramirez, Karan Patel, Lorena Matos, and Matthew Quintanilla. So if we could have a round of applause.
Excellent,
for
yes,
everybody, that'd be great.
thank you.
So that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mata. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations, and we look forward to hearing about you and reading about you in the future. All right, thank you. Dr. Campos, do we have a request for continuance on one of the items? Is it item 11?
Yes, we do. It's item number 11. It is being requested to continue to Monday, June 26, 2017.
Monday, June 26.
This
on
is the
item,
above-ground facilities appeal in Council District Number 3.
Are there any objection to continuing item 11? All right, thank you. That'll be continued to what date?
Monday, June 26.
Okay, thank you. 1 second. Okay, thank you. Let's go to agenda item. Actually, we have a couple of administrative items that we can take care of quickly. Agenda item number 20, release of a stop notice. Tree Smith Enterprises Incorporated. Tree Smith Enterprises Incorporated has transmitted a release of a stop notice in the amount of $15,415 for furnishing tree removal, clearing, and grubbing in connection with the Machado Lake Ecosystem Rehabilitation Project. The contractor is OHL USA Incorporated. Is there a second to my motion that we receive agenda item number 20 forthwith? By Commissioner Davis, any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Agenda item number 21, release of a stop notice, VTP Incorporated. VTP Incorporated transmitting a release of a stop notice in the amount of $21,498.70 for furnishing labor and material for floor covering installation in connection with the LAPD Police Academy Replacement Training Facility Project. The contractor is Kemp Brothers Construction Incorporated. Is there a second to my motion that we receive agenda item number 21 forthwith? By Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Agenda item number 17, Council District 14, Bureau of Engineering and Bureau of Street Services, street closure, 6th Street between Flower Street and Hope Street, Metropolitan Transportation Authority Regional Connector Transit Project. Bear with me, there are a number of items that need to be read into the record before we begin the presentation. Recommending that the board first find that the Board of Public Works has reviewed and considered the information in the project draft environmental impact statement, environmental impact report, I'll call that the EIR, transmittal number 1, and the project final EIS-EIR transmittal number 2, thus the EIR. Number 2, find under the California Public Resources Code, Section 21166, and the California Environmental Quality Act Guidelines, Section 15162, on the basis of substantial evidence contained in the whole record, that since certification of the EIR, there have been no changes with respect to the circumstances under which the temporary street closure being undertaken would require a subsequent EIR or supplemental EIR. Number 3, adopt the January 20th, 2012 Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program, Chapter 8 of the final EIR, and Appendix 3, Memorandum of Agreement with the California State Historic Preservation Officer, that's transmittal number 3, prepared by Metro, as it pertains to construction impacts. Number 4, find under the CEQA Guidelines, Section 15091, that changes or alterations have been required in or incorporated into the project which reduce or substantially lessen the significant environmental effects as identified in the EIS and EIR. Further, find that there is no feasible alternative or additional feasible mitigation measures within the board's powers that would substantially lessen or avoid any significant effect the project would have on the environment. Number 5, adopt the attached CEQA findings of fact and statement of overriding considerations, transmittal number 4, as it pertains to the temporary street closure, and find that the economic, social, technological, and other benefits of the project outweigh its significant and unavoidable impacts. Number 6, specify that the Metro Transit Division of the Bureau of Engineering, located at 1149 South Broadway, and the board, located at 200 North Spring Street, and other relevant City of Los Angeles departments, are custodians of the documents or other material which constitute the record of the proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. Number 7, approve the request to temporarily close 6th Street between Flower Street and Hope Street, starting at 8 a.m. June 3rd, 2017, Saturday, and ending at 6 p.m. November 4th, 2017, a Saturday, subject to the conditions identified within the report. Number 8, approve the peak hour exemption request on 6th Street between Figueroa Street and Hope Street, and Flower Street between 5th Street and Wilshire Boulevard, to allow construction work in the morning peak hours, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and afternoon peak hours, 3:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., starting June 5th, 2017, and ending November 3rd, 2017, subject to the conditions identified within the report. Number 9, authorize the city engineer and the director of the Bureau of Street Services to administratively approve 2 additional weeks of full closures ending at 6 p.m. November 18th, 2017. That's in recommendation number 7 above, related to recommendation number 7 above. If unforeseen conditions are encountered which delay the completion of the construction. And number 10, authorize the city engineer to administratively approve 2 additional weeks of peak hour exemption ending November 17th, 2017, relating to recommendation number 8 above, if unforeseen conditions are encountered which delay the completion of the construction. Mr. G from the Bureau of Engineering will set us up. We have a card on number 17 from Mr. Sutton, and we have representatives from Metro as well. Mr. G, we will start with you, sir.
Thank you for reading the recommendations to the record. Good morning. I am Curtis G. from the Bureau of Engineering Metro Transit Division. The Metro Regional Connector, slated to open in 2021, is a 1.9-mile underground light rail system through downtown Los Angeles that will extend from the GO Line Little Tokyo Station to the 7th Street Metro Center. This rail extension project will connect the Metro GO Line to the Metro Blue and Expo lines to provide a one-seat ride for travel across LA County. Metro and their contractor, Regional Connectors Constructors, RCC, is requesting a full street closure and vehicular lane reductions with peak hour exemption. The full street closure is for 6th Street between Flower Street and Hope Street for 5 months starting tomorrow, Saturday, June 3rd, 2017 at 8 a.m. and ending Saturday, November 4th, 2017 at 6 p.m. In addition, Flower Street will be reduced to 2 southbound lanes from 5th Street to Wilshire Boulevard, and 6th Street will be reduced to 1 eastbound lane from Figueroa Street to Flower Street. The peak hour exemption is to allow lane reductions and construction work to occur during the morning peak hours, which is 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and afternoon peak hours, which is 3:30 p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m., starting June 5th, 2017, and ending November 3rd, 2017. If unforeseen conditions are encountered which delay the completion of the phase of construction, Metro and RCC are requesting the board authorize the city engineer and the Director of Bureau of Street Services to administratively approve 2 additional weeks of full closures ending 6 p.m. November 18, 2017, and 2 additional weeks of peak hour exemption ending November 17, 2017. This full street closure request is to facilitate the replacement of the Los Angeles Department of Water power facilities. The aging power infrastructure consisting of electrical duct banks, laterals, and vaults at the intersection of 6th Street and Flower Street are unsafe to be supported underneath the temporary roadway decking, and therefore must be rearranged and reconstructed. Metro indicated that experience has shown over the past years that the project has been unsuccessful in performing utility rearrangements in heavy congested intersections within small fragmented construction zones, and therefore is requesting a full street closure. The temporary lane reductions will also create a necessary work zone. Simultaneously, installation of piles will be installed on the east side of Flower Street from 5th Street to south of 6th Street. The utility rearrangement and pile installation will be needed to be completed prior to the building of the roadway deck. A temporary roadway that will allow traffic to travel on while excavation and construction of the tunnel box takes place underground for the light rail transit system. Council District 14 has communicated that they support the closure associated with the work. The Los Angeles Department of Transportation has reviewed and approved the worksite traffic control plans for the proposed lane reductions and full street closures. The LADOT has provided support services to manage traffic conditions as safely and efficiently as possible during the proposed 5-month time period. Metro has stated that they are committed to providing advance notice and mitigating construction impacts for the financial district and downtown communities in advance of the construction and during the life of the project. I therefore ask that the board adopt this board report with the recommendations that are listed in the report, which have been stated at the start of the agenda item, with the conditions stated herein. Pursuant to the City of Los Angeles and Metro Master Cooperative Agreement, City Council Contract Number C104288 and Board Joint Report Number 1, Regional Connector Special Permitting Process, adopted September 12, 2014, associated permitting fees shall be waived. Permittees shall obtain all necessary approvals for construction work related to the aforemost street closure prior to implementing any and all street closure related activities. Permittee shall obtain a Los Angeles Police Department exemption from work hour restriction permit and comply with all permit conditions. Permittee shall comply with all construction-related mitigation measures required in the MMRP. Permittee shall comply with peak hour exemption conditions as outlined in the Los Angeles Municipal Code Sections 62.61D and 80.06.1. The peak hour exemption can be revoked at any time by the city engineer. Representatives from Metro, RCC, LADOT, and BOE are here today to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. G. Any questions for BOE before we continue? We may have some questions in a moment for you or for engineering. Mr. Sutton?
My name is Christopher Sutton. I'm the attorney for the Westin Bonaventure Hotel. I've appeared before this body repeatedly for the last year and a half and pointed out repeatedly, and sometimes you consent to change it, that you've been utilizing the wrong environmental documents in January of 2012 and not the final environmental documents in April of 2012. And you fixed this last November, but then you've gone back to using the out-of-date environmental documents. This closure at 6th Street was never evaluated in any environmental document because the original design of the project had cut and cover starting at 6th Street and moving north, but now they have cut and cover starting at 4th Street and moving south. There was never analysis of a 6-month closure of 6th and Flower. Never. The closure of the off-ramps off of the 110 freeway. There's never been an analysis of what the impact on traffic is in downtown. There's never been an analysis of having this big hole in the ground next to these tall buildings. We submitted a letter in 2012 that this duration of open holes puts at risk the buildings adjacent to these excavations. Nabi Youssef was an engineer who submitted that. MTA said, well, we're only going to have these short-term small closures and small excavations, so there's not going to be this risk of seismic impacts. This body needs to order a new seismic analysis before this occurs. This body needs to order a new traffic analysis. This body needs to order a new environmental impact report. The collapse of the adjoining buildings is a major risk. These aspects of this project have all occurred in changes since 2012. You're relying upon outdated environmental documents, yet this project, this closure of 6th Street, is a new thing. You need reports from your staff at Contract Administration, DOT, and BOE on how MTA staff has consistently misrepresented their issues to the city. I want this committee to remember the St. Francis Dam, a project that was rushed through back in the 1920s that resulted in significant loss of life. We believe that the mayor's office has intervened in this project to overrule your staff and have them not require a city traffic management plan. Instead, they're allowing these little documents, these worksite traffic control plans. Every other developer has to do a traffic management plan under city law when they close streets. But what's happened here is the mayor's office has intervened to prevent the normal process of public health and safety and has overruled your staff politically.
So you're repeating yourself, Mr. Sutton. So I gave you some additional time, but once you start repeating yourself, you said everything you're going to say. So thank you, sir.
So I urge you to get a report before you approve this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I've got some questions for the record, and from Metro, and my questions relate to the environmental issues that Mr. Sutton has placed into the record. So from Metro, either Dolores Roybal, Adrina Dominguez, Rajneet Patel, or King Hu, whoever would like to respond. BOE staff, Talmadge Jordan, if you want to respond as well. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning. My name is Kang Hu with Metro Regional Connector Team. And I'd like to point out that for the 6th Street closure, other than the worksite traffic control plan, we did prepare a very comprehensive traffic management plan, which was reviewed and approved by Caltrans as well as LADOT. So that process was done. And also, as Curtis G. just pointed out, that we submitted technical memorandum to FTA, Federal Transit Administration. It's called Form 130C, and that was approved by FTA, and they have concluded that the 6th Street closure will not incur additional environmental impact, and the EA or supplemental EIR, EIS are not needed. The technical memorandum is sufficient, and traffic management plans were approved.
Thank you, Mr. Hu. Any questions for him?
Let me ask. So you have raised the issue and information with regard to traffic analysis that was done by your work. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then also in terms of seismic as well? What do
we don't believe a seismic study is necessary. These are the utility work. As the Rajini Patel, our construction
He will address the issue with regard to seismic.
Good morning, President James, Commissioners, and Bureau Department representatives. Rajni Patel, Metro, Director of Construction Management, regional connector project. We don't believe seismic analysis is necessary. It's all underground. Underground structures fare much better than the above ground structures. There is an extensive instrumentation program associated with our the entire project, where we have instrumentations all along the route measuring the movement of the ground conditions, and to date we've found that it's been within the tolerances.
So basically, the protocol that you have discussed is our standard of practice as it relates to this circumstance.
That is correct, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Penning.
I see a public outreach plan enclosed in here. I see an email from CD14 saying that they are in support of this if the, it says, provided that Metro conducts the outreach plan that has been presented to the CD14 office. Has that been conducted yet?
Yes, it has. Good morning. My name is Olga Arroyo. I'm the Construction Relations Manager for the Regional Connector. One of my main responsibilities is ensuring that adequate outreach is performed in advance of any major construction activity related to the project. In response to that particular communication, yes, the project has been actively performing public outreach since the beginning of this year to not only local adjacent stakeholders, but also through other means of communication that reach commuters in the area.
So this specific one, specific to this closure, this is completed?
Yes, that's correct.
My main concern about this is just that you're asking us for a major closure for 5 months starting tomorrow, right?
That's correct. Yes.
So, I mean, I'm fine given that, you know, I suppose this is not the only venue that the public has had to come and comment on this, given that you have conducted the outreach plan, but I think for our board, it's not ideal to hear something of this scope, you know, and be in a position where we either approve or don't approve the day before that you guys need the closure.
Yeah, I'd like to point out that this closure has been in the planning for the past 6 months, and we have been working very closely with all the responsible agencies, and the community outreach has been done very extensively. We have done all media outreach, stakeholders outreach, and also the public outreach. We have placed portable changeable message signs on the freeway off-ramps and also on 6th Street. We have done one-to-one outreach, so it's been very extensive, and you may have heard it on the radio about this proposed closure too. We understand there will be some inconvenience to the public, but we are trying our best to mitigate the traffic congestion problem, and we've been working with LADOT that we were setting up the real very strong monitoring program that we believe that the traffic can be managed.
Okay, I just want to make sure that the approval of this board is not something that folks take for granted, and that we are given the proper time to consider these items when they come to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Penning. I would add a couple of things anecdotally regarding the outreach plan, just that I've experienced. I don't know if it was, Olga, part of your plan to do this, or if Metro was just a beneficiary of this circumstance. But because of the outreach plan that you put in place, there were a number of different times that in the campaign world, in another part of my life, we call it earned media, where the news media picked it up, not directly, as it wasn't directly your outreach plan, but because of your outreach plan, it made it into various news segments some time ago, and those news segments carried it on even up until earlier today, which again, I don't know if it was part of your plan, terrific. Otherwise, Metro was a beneficiary of the work that you did, because news stations carried it on the news side and not on the advertisement side. Go ahead.
Yes, that's correct. Reaching out to the media world is part of our outreach plan as well, and so Metro does have a dedicated media department that focuses on conveying that information to those institutions. And so our media relations department actually issue 3 different press releases where they communicated this information. The first one went out at the beginning of May, and I want to say that's when the media started picking up the information and began to have a dialogue with the public on the closure.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Roybal, was there anything that you wanted to add as the Director of Planning?
I just wanted to add that when we did the environmental document, we did a lot of extensive technical analysis as well as outreach in our efforts in order to include an environmental impact window as large as possible in order to accommodate efficiencies in construction and looking at safety as we were moving forward in regards to reducing the impact on our community members that live in downtown as well as coming through downtown. And so when we move forward in construction and prepare to move forward with the project, we have to be very thoughtful as to the safety of not only our public but as well as our construction crews as they perform the utility relocation and other activities described today. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Ms. Roybal, can you speak directly to the comment raised about the CEQA documentation, environmental documentation that was used?
Absolutely. The project, the final environmental document was approved by the board in January of 2012.
I'm sorry, which board?
The Metro Board,
Metro Board.
Project approval. We then move forward with doing what we call a record of decision with the FTA, the Federal Transit Administration, who are our partners. And they then issued a record of decision in June of 2012. As we were moving forward with construction, we did a lot of extensive outreach efforts with our stakeholders, specifically in this area of the financial district, because they were very concerned about the impact and ultimately enduring the construction efforts of this project. In addition to that, we released a supplemental document that was finalized in December of 2015 that specifically looked at the tunnel alternatives that were looked at for this segment of the project on Flower Street. We had extensive documentation in the environmental document and other appendices, but we were requested to include additional information in the document itself. And so we did that. We were able to have it readily available for all so they would have an understanding as to why these additional alternatives were not looked at and why we were moving forward with the locally preferred alternative, which is currently in construction.
Okay. I do want to add that I've received numerous briefings together with DOT and Metro community outreach, and I appreciate learning about the and understanding all the community outreach and the mitigation, traffic mitigation plan. I think this project is unprecedented in a way in terms of a closure of a major off-ramp, if you will, a 6th Street sidestep, if you will. And it proves that together, the Metro and our partnership, we have to continue to educate as many stakeholders as we can, including our board, so that we understand that the timing is right there. This is a critical path issue that is necessary for the regional connector project to really proceed. So, just sort of dig in and continue with all the due diligence that we have done and that you will continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Mr. G?
Yes, sir.
Does the Bureau of Engineering have everything it needs for the recommendation of this closure this morning?
That is correct. Yes, we do. Bureau of Engineering does have everything that.
Okay. You're satisfied with everything?
Correct.
Okay. Anything further? Commissioner Rivas, I'm sorry.
No problem. I had a question regarding the concern about the traffic management plan that's in place. Can you speak to that? I know there was some concern from the previous speaker.
Yes,
Mr. Sutton.
actually, I would like to call up LA DOT to address the traffic questions. They're more of a specialty than I am.
No, of course. Thanks.
Also, Kong, to the extent you want to add anything, go ahead, sir.
Good morning, President James, commissioners, and staff. Jesus Serrano with LADOT. I'm a transportation engineer. I worked on the traffic management plan and the approval of the worksite traffic control plans. In your question, I'm sorry.
I mean, Mr. Sutton brought up an issue of whether that this wasn't an adequate traffic management plan, or it was something not done. Is this something? Did you do something differently, or
No,
do you have any reason?
As far as the traffic management plan is concerned, the adequacy of the plan that was presented to us is consistent with other TMPs we've seen for these type of closures. So I don't have anything in particular to make comment about the TMP, the traffic management plan. There was one prepared for the closure, and it was certainly adequate for this type of closure in terms of the content of the traffic management plan and the analysis performed. So
Okay,
it's
so
consistent with the
consistent
the
with
TMP.
other projects like this.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Mr. Hu, do you want to add anything? Anything additional regarding the traffic management plan?
Well, the traffic management plan was very comprehensive. I actually have a copy here. It's a pretty thick document, and it has gone through extensive traffic analysis, mitigations, the detour route. We believe this satisfies all the environmental requirements, and it's been reviewed and approved by both Caltrans and LADOT. And we really appreciate your board's support for the Regional Connector project. This closure is very critical to our construction schedule, so we urge your approval for this closure.
Thank you, sir. Mr. G? Again, just for the record, given everything that's on the record, Bureau of Engineering is here because they're satisfied with the documents that are presented to them, including the traffic management plan?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Anything further?
I just want to say,
Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, I just wanted to, in summary, as we make a decision on this, I do want to reiterate the remarks that Commissioner Repenning made in terms of, in an item like this, in terms of policy, to the extent possible, if we could do it, since you've said it's urgent, if we could do it, a few days ahead of time, it would be helpful. A week in advance, if we can. I know we have emergencies and we have to deal with emergencies. So my point is that in the future on something like this, as important as it is, if we can kind of get it together a week before, if it's possible, that would be helpful.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Anything further? Commissioner Santos made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 17. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 17. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you all. We have a housekeeping item on agenda item number 10, and I know that we have some speaker cards on agenda item number 10. It's been a request by the council office that I received to continue the item an additional 2 weeks. There's an opportunity for a potential, I'll just let you all know the message that I got, that there's the council office feels like there's an available opportunity for co-location. So agenda item number 10 is going to be continued 2 additional weeks from today. Is that the 16th of June, Dr. Campos?
That would put us to, that is correct, June 16th.
Okay, so agenda item number 10 at the request of the council office will be continued to Friday, June 16th. For those people that have a card in on number 10, thank you. Agenda item number 18, Council District 14, street closure, Bureau of Engineering, Bureau of Street Services, intersection of 4th Street and Flower Street, and traffic lane reductions on 4th Street and Flower Street, Metropolitan Regional Connector Transit Project. Again, I have some requirements to read into the record, so bear with me, please. Recommending that the board first find that the Board of Public Works has reviewed and considered the information in the project draft environmental impact statement, environmental impact report, we'll call that the EIR, transmittal number 1, and the project final EIS-EIR, that's transmittal number 2, the EIR. Number 2, find under the California Public Resources Code, Section 21166, and the California Environmental Quality Act Guidelines, Section 15162, on the basis of substantial evidence contained in the whole record, that since certification of the EIS and EIR, there have been no changes with respect to the circumstances under which the temporary street closure being undertaken would require a subsequent EIR or supplemental EIR. Number 3, adopt the January 20th, 2012 Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program, that's Chapter 8 of the final EIR, and Appendix 3, Memorandum of Agreement with the California State Historic Preservation Officer, transmittal number 3, prepared by the Los Angeles County Metro as it pertains to construction impacts. Number 4, find under the CEQA Guidelines, Section 15091, that changes or alterations have been required in or incorporated into the project which reduce or substantially lessen the significant environmental effects as identified in the EIS and EIR. Further, find that there is no feasible alternative or additional feasible mitigation measures within the board's powers that would substantially lessen or avoid any significant effect the project would have on the environment. Number 5, adopt the attached CEQA guidelines findings of fact, or the attached CEQA findings of fact and statement of overriding considerations, that's transmittal number 4, as it pertains to the temporary street closure, and find that the economic, social, technological, and other benefits of the project outweigh its significant and unavoidable impacts. Number 6, specify that the Metro Transit Division of the Bureau of Engineering, located at 1149 South Broadway, and the board located at 200 North Spring Street and other relevant City of Los Angeles departments are custodians of the documents or other material which constitute the record of the proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. Number 7, approve the request to temporarily close the intersection of 4th Street and Flower Street starting Saturday, June 17, 2017 at 8 a.m. and ending Monday, June 19, 2017 at 5 a.m., subject to the conditions identified within the report. Number 8, approve the request to temporarily close the intersection of 4th Street and Flower Street starting Fridays at 7 p.m. and ending Mondays at 5 a.m. for 8 58-hour weekends beginning June 23, 2017 and ending August 14, 2017, subject to the conditions identified within the report. Number 9, approve the peak hour exemption request on Flower Street between 3rd Street and 5th Street and 4th Street between Figueroa Street and Flower Street to allow construction work during weekday morning peak hours 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and weekday afternoon peak hours 3:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. starting June 19, 2017 and ending August 11, 2017, subject to conditions identified within the report. Number 10, authorize the city engineer and the director of the Bureau of Street Services to administratively approve 2 additional 58-hour weekend full closures ending at 5 a.m. August 28, 2017. That relates to recommendation number 8 above. Given the uncertainty in predicting when the tunnel boring machine will arrive at the retrieval location, and if unforeseen conditions are encountered which delay the completion of the extraction of the tunnel boring machine. And number 11, authorize the city engineer to administratively approve 2 additional weeks of peak hour exemption ending August 25th, 2017, relating to recommendation number 9 above, given the uncertainty in predicting when the tunnel boring machine will arrive at the retrieval location, and if unforeseen conditions are encountered which delay the completion of the extraction of the tunnel boring machine. Mr. G on number 18.
Good morning again. I'm Curtis G. from the Bureau of Engineering Metro Transit Division. The Metro and their contractor, Regional Connectors Constructor, RCC, is requesting to temporarily close the intersection of 4th Street and Flower Street to facilitate the extraction of the tunnel boring machine, also known as the TBM. The intersection closure consists of a full street closure of Flower Street between 4th Street and 5th Street, and 4th Street between Figueroa Street and Flower Street for 9 consecutive weekends. The first weekend closure It will be for 45 hours and will start Saturday, June 17th, 2017 at 8 a.m. and end Monday, June 19th, 2017 at 5 a.m. The 8 remaining weekend closures will be for 58 hours and will start Friday at 7 p.m. and end Monday at 5 a.m. for the following weekends: June 23rd, 2017 to June 26th, 2017, June 30th to July 3rd, 2017, July 7th to July 10th, 2017, July 14th to July 17th, 2017, July 21 to July 24, 2017, July 28th to July 31st, 2017, August 4th to August 7th, 2017, and August 11th through to August 14th, 2017. In addition, starting June 17, 2017 and ending August 14, 2017, Flower Street will be reduced to 2 southbound lanes at the intersection of Flower Street and 4th Street. And 4th Street will be reduced to 1 eastbound lane from Figueroa Street to Flower Street. The requested temporary lane reductions will create a work zone for the gantry crane needed to extract the TBM. Metro has requested a peak hour exemption to allow for the lane reductions and construction work to take place within the public streets in the morning peak hours, which is 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and afternoon peak hours, 3:30 p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. The TBM retrieval shaft is located at the intersection of 4th Street and Flower Street. The TBM is a 21.5-foot diameter machine that is mining the tunnels needed for the trains to travel underground. Early February 2017, the TBM started at the 1st and Central Station in Little Tokyo and is traveling west, digging the first of 2 1.1-mile tunnels to the retrieval shaft in the financial district in downtown. The anticipated arrival of the TBM is late June of 2017. Once the TBM arrives at the retrieval shaft, the TBM will be lifted out and placed on a truck where it will be brought back to the 1st and Central Station to dig the second tunnel. The TBM retrieval is comprised of a 3-step operation: 2 weekends for the preparation and assembly of the gantry crane, 5 weekends for the disassembly and retrieval of the actual tunnel boring machine, and the last 2 weekends for the demobilization of the crane and to demobilize the work zone. Given the uncertainty in predicting when the TBM will arrive at the retrieval location, or that any unforeseen conditions may arise, Metro and RCC are requesting that the city engineer and the Bureau of Street Services be authorized to administratively approve 2 additional 58-hour full weekend closures ending 5 a.m. on August 28, 2017, and an additional 2 weeks of peak hour exemption ending August 25, 2017. The Los Angeles Department of Transportation has reviewed and approved the worksite traffic control plans for the proposed lane reductions and weekend full street closures. LA DOT will provide support services to manage traffic conditions as safely and efficiently as possible during the proposed 3-month closure. Council District 14 has communicated that they support the closure associated with this work. Metro has stated that they are committed to providing advance notice and mitigating construction impacts for the financial district and downtown communities in advance and also during the life of the project. I therefore ask the board to adopt this board report with the recommendations that were read out loud earlier, with the conditions stated here. Pursuant to the City of Los Angeles and Metro Master Cooperative Agreement, City Council number C104288 and Board Joint Report number 1, Regional Connector Special Permitting Process adopted September 12, 2014, associated permitting fees shall be waived. Permittee shall obtain all necessary approvals for construction work related to the street closure prior to implementing any and all street closure related activities. Permittee shall obtain a Los Angeles Police Department exemption from work hour restriction permit and comply with all permit conditions. Permittee shall comply with all construction-related mitigation measures required in the MMRP. Permittee shall comply with the peak hour exemption conditions as outlined in Los Angeles Municipal Code sections 62.61D and 80.06.1. The peak hour exemption can be revoked at any time by the city engineer. representatives from Metro, RCC, and LADOT are here today to answer any questions. Thank you.
You, Mr. G. Any questions for him before we move along? All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Sutton, you have a card in on number 18.
My name is Christopher Sutton, attorney for the Westin Bonaventure Hotel, located at the corner of 4th and Flowers Street. Mr. Chairman, may I incorporate my earlier remarks on number 17 so I don't have to repeat them here?
Go ahead. If you want to add something,
I want to add something, but
yeah,
I don't want to have to repeat myself.
That's fine. Go ahead and add it, and as long as you're not repeating yourself, I don't mind
Everything
extending
I
your
said
time
under-
a bit. But go ahead.
Right. If there's a traffic management plan under city law, it should be attached to the staff report, as it is for other private and public projects. But attached to the staff report on this item and on item 17 is what's called a worksite traffic control plan. Where is the traffic management plan under city law? Not the traffic management plan that MTA prepared. When we were here on March 15th, Gary Baker, the head engineer on MTA's project, said that they prepared a traffic management plan, quote, for their internal use. So that what's happened here is that the city's requirements for a city traffic management plan, which was imposed when the Korean Airlines Tower was built, when everybody else who does street closures for a length of time has to prepare this in advance. And yet MTA's staff has testified under oath that no traffic management plan was prepared in advance when this excavation began in March of last year. And in fact, it turned out that your staff was surprised that they were preparing one internally because they had convinced your staff that they didn't need to do one. And so what's happened here is that your staff, the political influence, has convinced your staff to not impose the city's traffic management rules or the city's noise standards on this project, but to accept what MTA does for their own internal use. And so I'm urging you, if there is a traffic management plan in this case, if it exists, to have your staff submit it to this board for your review and approval, as you have done on other cases. But what's attached to this staff report is a worksite traffic control plan, a short-term document, and not the long-term traffic management plan that usually is submitted to this board. There's a different procedure going on here regarding 4th Street and 6th Street, and you need to ask your staff why the traffic management plan under city law, not under MTA's rules, but under city law, is not attached to this staff report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sutton. So regarding the issues presented by Mr. Sutton, first from Metro and then from the Bureau of Engineering. However you all want to respond.
Yeah, again, this is Kang Hu with the Metro Regional Connector Project. For the TBM retrieval pit closure, we've discussed with FTA, with LADOT, because the closure is about weekend closures, which was clearly specified in the regional environmental document that weekend closures are permitted. So we don't believe a separate traffic management plan need to be included for this particular closure. But we did prepare a very comprehensive worksite traffic control plan, which was thoroughly reviewed by LADOT, and they've looked at the traffic lanes, the detours, all the signings and stripings. It's very comprehensive, and we spent a lot of time developing that and eventually got approval from LADOT. We believe the traffic management overall scheme is very thorough and comprehensive. So this closure, we would certainly recommend, we urge your approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. G, did I see you step up into, this is not a new project, so go ahead, sir.
No, in regards to the accusation regarding 4th Street and 6th Street and how they were treated differently, that's untrue. From BOE's perspective, they were treated exactly the same. Worksite traffic controls plans were in both the 4th Street and 6th Street. I guess the TMP, BOE relies on the Department of Transportation to provide the technical expertise on traffic and the mitigation. Therefore, we asked them to provide a traffic impact statement, which is included in the board report. Essentially, the worksite traffic control plans are the ones that the contractor sets up and follows, showing the lane reductions and what is closed. If required, we could provide the TMP in future board reports. Part of the reason why is the TMP is, how long is it, like 1,000 pages long? It's an enormous amount of pages, so.
We all have access to it.
Yeah, so.
Got it. Ms. Arroyo? I'm sorry, I was looking for Olga. You want to add something, Dolores? You want to add something, Ms. Roybal? Sorry, it's the maybe the Oklahoma accent. They sounded the same. Ms. Arroyo, on the outreach for this closure?
On the outreach for the TBM retrieval, we started those conversations with the community back in March of this year, where we began the conversation on what the traffic configuration will look like, how access will be maintained to adjacent properties. And those conversations took place through public meetings at the Community Leadership Council. We also had several meetings with adjacent property owners, including the Bonaventure, Commonwealth, and Citigroup Center, who are adjacent to the 4th and Flower intersection. All of them received the information positively. Some of the feedback that we got from the community and stakeholders was the need for additional signage and for signage that identify individual businesses within their properties. All of those accommodations have been put into place as part of the plan.
I want to add something too, just for the record, regarding the complexity of the work that's being done in connection with community outreach and management of the business interests around the area, because the community outreach plan also included, which I know because of my other role in public works, also includes dealing with the film permitting in the entertainment industry. And I know that there have been extensive communications with Film LA, and that, of course, translates to extensive communications with the industry. This area is one of the most photographed area in the country, which means probably the world, for television commercials, particularly automobile commercials. And the amount of coordination between the city departments, the council office, Metro, Film LA, and the industry, and the adjacent businesses for this project to be built is staggering. And is nonstop, and I want to compliment you on that consistency. It's not easy for them, and there's a lot of pain on that side of the docket, but they understand what this project is and what it means for the future of the city, and it's been a workaround for everybody. So thank you.
Thank you. If I may add, just to elaborate on your point, Commissioner, the project takes the coordination with not only Film LA, but other contractors and projects in the area very seriously. With Film LA in particularly, we have weekly meetings with them, and this is in addition to daily communication we have on requests that they are receiving for filming on Flower Street and throughout the alignment.
Right. Yeah. Everyone will be very excited for this project to open. Yes, all right. Any other questions on this item? This closure starts, Mr. G, on June 17th?
That is correct. It starts on June 17th, 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Right, okay, and they're weekend closures, as you've very clearly pointed out.
Yes.
All right. Regarding, again, I'm going to button up the record on this regarding the Bureau of Engineering. The Bureau of Engineering is satisfied there's no outstanding documentation the Bureau of Engineering is looking for or waiting for regarding this closure?
For this closure, that is correct. We have everything we need.
All right. Anything further, colleagues? Commissioner Sintos made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 18. I'll second it, along with Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 18. Thank you all. Any issues sending number 18 forthwith? We'll send number 18 forthwith. Agenda item, we're going to take we continued number 10. We're going to take number 9, and then we're going to go to number 16. because I know there are some folks listening in that are interested in number 16. So we're going to take number 9, then move to number 16. So agenda item number 9, Council District 3, tree removal, 6800 through 6961 block of North Lindley Avenue. This is for the sidewalk repair program. Recommending that the board first find that the tree removal, number 1, classifies as operation, repair, maintenance, or minor alteration of existing street, sidewalk, and gutter involving negligible or no expansion of use beyond that previously existing and does not involve the removal of a scenic resource. 2, that the action is exempt under Article 3, Section 1, Class 1, Category 3, existing facilities, sidewalk repair or maintenance of the City of Los Angeles Environmental Quality Act guidelines from 2002, and 3, that none of the exceptions to the use of a categorical exemption as set forth in Section 15300.2 of the state CEQA guidelines apply, and secondly, review and approve the tree removal permit request for removal of 32 trees located on the 6800 through 6961 block of North Lindley Avenue for the reconstruction of an off-grade sidewalk. Tree replacements are required. Mr. Tyson on number 9. And is my information accurate that a number of these trees are dead trees?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, they're either in the state of decline, which they'll succumb to the disease they have soon, within a year or so. And so I'll do the presentation, and yes, these trees are in very poor condition.
Okay.
The Bureau of Engineering is the lead agency in identifying defective sidewalks at several locations throughout the City of Los Angeles as part of the sidewalk repair program. Bureau of Engineering representative Joseph B. Maruri contacted the Bureau in reference to the reconstruction of off-grade sidewalk conditions along the 6800 through 6900 block North Lindley Avenue. The Bureau arborist inspected the subject location on June 25, 2016. The inspection revealed 32 American sweet gum liquid amber styrictoflua trees measuring approximately 24 to 38 inches in diameter by approximately 40 feet in height, growing in a 5-foot parkway that are in fair to poor health. Several, if not most of the trees, are in various states of decline, with 15 to 50% of the crowns possessing dead end or dying branches. The subject trees are located at 6800, 6801, 06, 07, 12, 13, 18, 19, 25, 30, 31, 35, 36, 41, 47, and 69, 16, 69, 25, 26, 27, 31, 32, 37, 41, 44, 47, 50, 51, 56, 57, 60, and 61 North Lindley Avenue. Their sidewalks are going to be removed and replaced due to the uplift and the severe disruption by the roots and root crowns of the subject trees. The trees have severely outgrown their growing space, and defective sidewalks are prevalent throughout the area. The required root pruning to allow the trees to remain would significantly and adversely affect the trees' health and structural integrity, leaving them potentially unstable. Michael Owens, who's here today from Council District 3, Director of Community Affairs and Infrastructure, was informed of the tree removal request on December 19th, 2016. Notice of the proposed tree removals were physically posted on the subject trees on June 25th, 2016. Proposed tree removals were included in the Bureau of Street Services tree removal notification system, and the Community Forest Advisory Committee was notified. All tree replacements will comply with the Board of Public Works 2-to-1 tree replacement policy and shall be planted by the Office of Community Beautification or its contractor. The Urban Forestry Division shall begin weekly watering of the tree replacements upon tree planting confirmation from Office of Community Beautification. Tree watering shall continue for a 3-year period. There will be 50 24-inch box-sized Brisbane box Lophostomen confertus trees that will be replanted at 6800, 6801, 06, 07, 12, 13, 18, 24, 25, 30, 31, 35, 36, 41, 47, 52, and then the block of 6900, 16, 25, 26, 27, 31, 32, 37, 41, 44, 47, 50, 51, 52, 56, 57, 60, and 61. Two 24-inch box-sized crepe myrtle trees will be replanted at 6801 North Lindley Avenue. 12 24-inch box-sized crepe myrtle trees will be replanted at 18050 Van Owen Street. This will complete the 2-to-1 replacement policy, as there's not enough locations on Lindley Avenue to put all the trees. So we will plant them, and we will get new trees in other areas where there
Will be
aren't
planted
any.
in the adjacent areas?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. We want to improve the canopy in this area, as there's a lot of other streets that are in this kind of condition throughout the valley.
I also would just note, first of all, Mr. Owens, thank you for being here this morning, and for your continuing work on public works items as well as entertainment industry items. They go together, of course. But the record indicates you've gotten a number of the property owner's authorization for tree removal, so there's been a lot of homework done here.
Yes, sir. We canvassed the area many, many times to go door to door to speak with all the constituents so we could inform them of what was happening. Would they be on board with that? We went to the council office, had a meeting with Michael and different representatives there. I did personally. And it's it's sad, but yet this is an opportunity, because the trees will succumb to the disease. It's just a matter of time. Sometimes they last 4 years, sometimes they last 2, sometimes they last 6.
Well, and these are part of the sidewalk repair program. We're going to get credit in the settlement for this. There are accessibility issues here, obviously, and for this kind of a removal that is difficult for a community, that kind of community outreach and partnership from the community and the council office is key. And the council office is satisfied with the replacement species and for the area?
Yes, they are.
Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Tim, thank you for the photo documentation and all the report. The scope of work, are we doing 2 city blocks, or are we doing 1? Because I understand the access from sort of corner to corner.
Correct.
How many blocks are we doing?
6,800 and 6,900
So
blocks.
is that 2 city blocks?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So corner to corner, people have access. We
Yeah, and they
removed all the barriers.
Correct. They put in new access ramps at the corners, and everything is brought up to ADA compliance. We plant new trees, and it gets a new revived time frame of 20, 30 years. The trees can grow, and everything can stay ADA compliant.
So this is really where our sidewalk repair program hits the maintenance of our urban forestry in terms of being able to provide access and taking this opportunity to have trees that will grow and thrive.
Due to the fact that the trees are unhealthy and they're declining and they become safety problems, we've had trees like this hurt individuals out in the street and those kind of things where they're dying, and we're trying to keep up, and it's very difficult.
Great. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Commissioner Penning.
And on the community side, I mean, it's going to be fairly impactful. I am happy that we're able to follow our policy in replacing 2-to-1 in that neighborhood, but it's been quiet on the neighborhood front.
Yes, I don't know if, I do have an individual here who's here today. I don't know, he was asking me if I was going to speak on the item, but I didn't see anybody had any speaker cards. I'm not sure if he wants to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Commissioner Rivas?
You may have mentioned this, but will all of the replacement trees be able to be planted in that area, or will some go to the nursery?
No, they all get replanted.
They all will?
Yes, they're going to plant some on Van Owen and some over on the other streets that are right nearby, so that we'll complete the 2-to-1.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Penning?
Tell me again, what do we do with the trees when we're taking them out? What do we do with the trees when they're removed?
What do we do with them?
Yeah.
They get recycled. The trees are, it depends. At the site, if you're only doing a small job, you'll use the what's called a chipper, and you chip it, and then it goes to the dump in that form. But when we're doing this kind of a job, it's a mechanized crew that goes in, and we load whole trees in, and then it goes out to the Van Norman Recycling Facility where it goes through a tub grinder, and then it gets ground down to finer material, and then that is shipped out to all kinds of areas where we can find places to put it for weed abatement, for putting around orange groves. They put it and they make, high dikes around to keep the cool air from during the winter, and then they plow it into the fields. But we deliver it free and we give it away.
When we're using a chipper on site, that's not going to the landfill, is it?
No, everything we do with green goes out to
Goes
the Van
to
Norman Recycling
Lopez
Facility. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Penny. Anything else? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 9. Is there a second on number 9? By Commissioners Rivas and Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 9. Any issue sending 9 forthwith? We'll send number 9 forthwith. Mr. Tyson, thank you. Mr. Owens, thank you. Thank you, sir, for coming, and to our team at OCB as well. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So moving to agenda item number 16. Let's see. Contract award, Council Districts 4 and 13, Bureaus of Engineering and Contract Administration for North Atwater non-motorized multimodal bridge, a federal project, recommending that the board first declare Reyes Construction Incorporated, I'll call them Reyes, the first low bidder, to be the lowest responsible bidder as discussed in the report, and award Reyes a contract for the project for $12,545,000, $12,545,369. Second, authorize myself or 2 members of the Board of Public Works to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. Third, authorize a loan from the Public Works Trust Fund, number 834, in the amount of $6,933,133, payable by the Engineering Special Services Fund, number 682, Department number 50, appropriation unit number to be determined, to front fund this project. Fourth, authorize the board's Director of Accounting to release the Public Works Trust Fund loan proceeds when requested by the city engineer in written form. Fifth, authorize the board's Director of Accounting to assess and collect monthly interest earned on the outstanding loan balance at the rate that the Office of Finance is using to allocate interest to various investment pools. Any unpaid interest earned at the end of the year will be added to the principal amount of the loan. And 6, authorize reimbursement of funds as established through the annual budget process from the Engineering Special Services Fund, number 682, Department number 50, to the Public Works Trust Fund, number 834, Department number 50, upon request from the board's Director of Accounting. Shirley Lau is here on this item, as well as Ms. McGlinchey on some qualification items relating to the federal funds. So, Ms. Lau.
Yes, good morning. Shirley Lau with the Bureau of Engineering Bridge Improvement Division. This report before you provides Bureau of Engineering and Bureau of Contract Administration recommendations for your consideration and approval to award a contract for this North Atwater non-motorized multimodal bridge. To provide you some background of this project, this bridge is located approximately 1/2 mile upstream of Los Feliz Boulevard, connecting the 2 banks of the LA River between North Atwater and Griffith Park. The purpose of this bridge is to provide a safe crossing for pedestrians, bicyclists, and equestrians trying to reach destinations on either side of the LA River. At approximately 325 feet long and 35 feet wide, this bridge is a cable stay bridge in which the design is a modified fan with high-stressed steel cables attached to a 126-foot tall center mast. There are 2 separate paths, one for pedestrians and cyclists and one for equestrians. Each path will be approximately 12 feet wide. The project would require a single concrete pier to be placed in the LA River and 2 abutments constructed at each end of the bridge. There will also be improvements at both landings of the bridge where equestrians will cross existing paths at the top of the riverbank. Construction of this non-motorized multimodal crossing was included in the city's LA River Revitalization Master Plan that was adopted in 2007. River LA, a nonprofit organization formerly known as the LA River Revitalization Corporation, was established in 2009 to further the long-range goals of the LA River Revitalization Master Plan. Chief among their objectives are to foster public-private partnerships by attracting investments from outside parties, including the private sector and individuals, to help build capital projects within the LA River Corridor. To this end, River LA successfully attracted funds from a private philanthropist and secured a Caltrans Active Transportation Program grant, as well as other grants to fund this multimodal crossing. River LA's role was previously managing the project's design, cost estimation, specifications, permits and easements, and agreements necessary to construct the bridge structure. So on September 14, 2016, this project's plans and specifications were advertised for invitation of bids by this board. Bids were received on October 19, 2016. 5 contractors provided bids on this project. The lowest contractor's bid is $12,545,369 to construct this project. Council File 11-1246-S1, which is transmittal number 1, it identifies funding sources for this project. That council file was approved by City Council on May 26, 2017.
Ms. Lau, before you get to the funding sources and we break down kind of the funding for the $12 million plus dollars, which I repeat out loud for the benefit of the young people that just walked in the room, let me just take just a quick moment to find out what group we've got that just joined us. Hi. Hey, guys. Hi.
Well, my name is Mr. Two, and another teacher who's with me, he's coming in shortly. Mr. Martin, we're teachers from Stevenson Middle School, and we're on a field trip. These are my students. They are the Stevenson Pirates. They're in 6th grade. We're at a school in LA Unified, East LA.
Excellent. All 6th graders?
Yes.
Okay, welcome. Well, I remember the 6th grade. It was a long time ago. So we are the Board of Public Works, which we sit as the general manager, if you will, of the Department of Public Works. There's 5 of us. We're called commissioners, and we're appointed by the mayor of Los Angeles and then confirmed by the city council. We're joined up here by representatives from the various bureaus that make up the department, which I'll describe in a moment, as well as our city attorney and executive officer. There are 5 bureaus that make up the Department of Public Works, and we're the infrastructure department. So much of what you deal with every day in your life, we're related directly to. For example, sanitation. We have the Bureau of Sanitation. So we're picking up trash and even serving as the city's environmental protection agency in many ways is our Bureau of Sanitation. Street services. So the pavement of the roads and cleaning potholes and repairing sidewalks. That's in the Department of Public Works and our Bureau of Sanitation. Our Bureau of Engineering, they oversee the building of all the city buildings that are city government buildings, even from recreation centers in your community to the Los Angeles Police Department headquarters building across the street. The Bureau of Street Lighting, all the street lighting poles that you see that provide light for safety and illumination at night, those come from our Bureau of Street Lighting. And our Bureau of Contract Administration. We have a lot of work that's done in the city. We use contractors that are in the private sector that come work for the city, and contract administration oversees those. So that's, and what's happening today, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning in this amazing room that is one of the most filmed rooms for the entertainment industry in the entire city for TV and movies. We meet every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning in here in a public hearing where we make our decisions and award contracts and open bids and all those kinds of things we do here for the public and the press to see and to take part in if they want and to make comment about it if they want as well. And the issue that you walked in on, we are about to, we're considering awarding a contract for more than $12 million to build a bridge that affects 2 of our council districts over the Los Angeles River. And it's a bridge for pedestrians, and there's a bike path there, as well as equestrian, but no cars on that bridge. So it's going to be a big benefit to the surrounding community, and it's got a really neat design, and That's what we are. That's what we're considering right now. Commissioner Rivas.
Thank you, President James. Welcome, sixth graders from Stevenson. Raise your hand if this is your first time here. Oh, wow, almost all of you. Well, welcome. Have you all been to Griffith Park? Raise your hand if you've been to Griffith Park. Okay, yeah, most of you have been there too. So that's what, actually, like President James mentioned, we're about to hear more about a project and approve a bridge that goes from Griffith Park across the LA River. And Shirley, she was presenting. She's an engineer, a civil engineer. Civil engineers work on public projects like bridges for the city. And Shirley's in charge of some of the bridges here in Los Angeles. She's an engineer that's presenting to us, and we're going to ask her questions, and then we make a decision whether we approve this project and award a contract for $12 million. So I know sometimes when you hear about engineers, you imagine them in labs and creating robots and other things, rockets. But our engineers make bridges and they make presentations. They talk to a lot of people in the community to make sure that this is something that the community wants. So there's a lot of social and community outreach aspects that are involved in engineering that a lot of times you don't hear about. So I just like to emphasize that because that's what you're about to see. So welcome.
Thank you. So Ms. Lau will continue. You were just about to talk about the breakdown of funding for this bridge project.
Yes. So let me start off with, so Council File 11-1246-S1, transmittal number 1, which identifies funding sources. It was approved by City Council on May 26, 2017, with concurrence by the Mayor on June 1st, 2017. And so I will give this to the Executive Officer right now.
Thank you, Shirley.
And as stated in the council report, the total cost for this project is at $16.1 million. That includes the $12.5 million for this construction contract, $1.8 million in construction contingency, and $1.8 million for construction management by city staff and consultant services. So for the award of this construction contract, BOE is requesting the $12.5 million for the contract and the construction contingency of $1.8 million. So for this board report, it totals $14.3 million. BOE will come back to the board for approval of a subsequent award for consultant services needed for construction management. For the funding sources identified for this project, it includes over $3.88 million from a private donor, Mr. Morton Lecretz. The funds were wired to the city on June 1st, 2017.
So the $3.88 million, which is a private donation from a private individual or foundation, one or the other, that money has already been wired to the city?
Yes, June 1st, 2017.
Right, yesterday. Okay,
yes.
Thank you. Go ahead.
$3.66 million from the Caltrans ATP grant, $1 million from MICLA, and approximately a $5.8 million loan from the Public Works Trust Fund. The repayment of the Public Works Trust Fund loan sources will be through the annual budget process and paid through various funding sources such as gas tax, Measure R, Measure M, and other potential sources, including but not limited to future grant funds and new revenue sources.
And the repayment is 10% per year?
It's over 10 years' time, yes.
Okay. But it's approximately 10% per year, correct? Okay.
That's correct. And so that summarizes the funding. I'll have Ms. Linda McGlinchey talk about the DBE program, and then I can answer further questions you may have.
Great, thank you. Ms. McGlinchey, welcome.
Good morning. Linda McGlinchey, Bureau of Contract Administration. This project, as Shirley mentioned, has Caltrans funding. Well, the Caltrans really comes from the U.S. DOT, the federal funding, and that makes it subject to the disadvantaged business enterprise requirements. the dollar amount of this contract further requires that should we be recommending, it establishes a goal for DBE participation, in this case 9%. Should the bidders fail to meet that DBE goal of utilizing disadvantaged business enterprises sufficient to meet that goal, and we want to recommend award based on their DBE outreach efforts, that we also have to submit that to Caltrans prior to award for their review and approval. In this case, the low bidder, Reyes, pledged 4.26% out of the 9% DBE goal. Staff reviewed their outreach efforts. We felt that it was sufficient. We submitted it to Caltrans. Caltrans did not agree and gave 5 reasons why they believe Reyes did not meet the DBE outreach requirements. Per Caltrans requirements for the federal funding, we notified Reyes of what their findings were and offered them a reconsideration hearing. So Reyes responded to the Caltrans findings. We had a reconsideration hearing, and as a result of that, we believe all of the issues raised by Caltrans were addressed. We have included that in the board report. Specifically, Caltrans stated that Reyes solicited only 347 of the 633 DBEs that it had identified for potential solicitation and work on this project. In corresponding with Reyes and getting clarification in the reconsideration hearing, Reyes broke that out and explained how they refined an initial query of the Caltrans database, which resulted in 633 firms coming down to 347. Specifically, they did that initial query, they refined it. They already had DBE subcontractors that they had found for electrical work, and that electrical subcontractor was going to provide the electrical supplies. So they filtered out those related subs. Same thing for traffic. They also filtered out most of the subcontractors that were out of town, well out of town. And they explained their reasoning for that, being in particular the traffic control, which is typically needed for a few hours, called in the day before. The practicality is that a company from San Francisco is not going to respond and move people and equipment down for 4 hours of work the next day. Also, from prior experience, Caltrans looks at a project like this that has an approximate 2-year duration and believes that companies, say, that's out of state for a 2-year project may very well be willing to relocate staff. However, Reyes pointed out that while this project is 2 years in duration, because it's over the LA River, the work actually can only be performed during the dry season, which is approximately 5 months out of each of those 2 years. Therefore, it really isn't a project where people would be willing to relocate because it's not really 2 years in duration. So for all of these reasons, they had filtered out certain potential DBE subcontractors. However, they still, even in doing that, looked back and found that there were certain things like rebar manufacturers that were not in the area that could potentially still be interested in bidding on this project. And so while they were taken out of an initial filtering down, they put them back in. So for all of those reasons, we found that they really did make adequate and thoughtful outreach regarding DBEs. A couple of other items that Caltrans addressed, they said that Reyes did not declare the items of work that it made available to DBEs and did not submit copies of rejected DBE quotes and accepted non-DBE quotes. That was an error. Reyes' outreach was actually quite extensive. When staff sent the outreach to Caltrans, those items were inadvertently left out. We later submitted that for Caltrans review. They also said that Reyes' DBE commitment is 3 times less than the goal. That was also an error. Again, they pledged 4.26% out of 9%, which is just under half of the DBE goal. And when compared to the second and third low bidders, they had a substantially higher DBE goal than the second and third low bidders, who had merely pledged 1.73% and 0.8% DBE participation on this contract. Additionally, with regards to rejected DBEs, Reyes pointed out that one of the DBE bids that was submitted by GNF, not GNF, GNC, and they had submitted that late, which was why they did not include it in their commitment form. However, Reyes has every intention of using them. OCC staff looked at the documentation and, in fact, confirmed that it was submitted late. So that was a valid explanation for not including them in their commitment. We had to go through all of this analysis because of the federal funding, and especially since Caltrans had initially said that they didn't qualify, which would have a big impact on us if we were to recommend them for award or give them the award in terms of those federal funding dollars. We feel that based on this information, as well as I had a conversation with Caltrans, with a branch chief at Caltrans regarding this. He actually sits on their reconsideration hearings over the same group that does their good faith effort reviews. He expressed to me that based on this information, the duration in time, the other aspects of Reyes' outreach, he felt comfortable as well that they did in fact do an adequate outreach. Therefore, we are recommending that Reyes be recommended as responsive and that this project be awarded to them.
So, thank you, Ms. McGlinchey. Just so I think that final paragraph is important, just so we're clear on the record. So, there were some issues with the DBE proposal with Reyes at Caltrans, kicked it back to us. Your office worked with Reyes, got some explanations, looked deeper into the matter. Your office was satisfied with them. So what you did is went back to Caltrans to one of their, what do you call it, recommit?
He is a branch chief is his position. He sits on their reconsideration
The reconsideration, I should remember. Yeah, the reconsideration board. And so just as Mr. Reamer does reconsideration hearings here, he sits on the reconsideration board at Caltrans. He's comfortable with that Reyes is satisfied. So thus the Bureau's comfortable to recommend Reyes and thus making the whole pie full of funding, which would include the Caltrans/federal funding.
Correct. We're comfortable in believing that awarding to Reyes would not jeopardize our federal funding.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Repenning?
I just, on this item, want to appreciate the leadership of our Bureau of Engineering for kind of taking this bridge on. I know it was initially going to be something that was done on the private side, and I think that, given at a certain point it seemed that the city would be a better lead in the design and construction of the bridge. We stepped in, took it on, and said, this is a valuable component to the infrastructure we're building along the river. We have private funding on the table, and let's make sure that we can leverage that money. And so I know it's been a big city effort. I see Christine from CD13 sitting here. Hi, Christine. I know our colleagues in the mayor's office, Deputy Mayor Romero and Carol Armstrong, as well as the LA River Works office, have worked hard with our staff and engineering to pull this together and make it work. So I just want to say I think it's going to be, at the end of the day, really worth the gymnastics that have been necessary to get this going. And I look forward to having the opportunity to cross the river on a bridge that horses can use. I might actually get a horse and try to use it.
You can ride one. You can rent one.
I'm from Kentucky.
That's right.
Know.
Okay.
Thank you, and thank you, Linda and Conrad, for your work on this as well.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Jacinto and then Commissioner Rivas.
Thank you, President James. Congratulations and thank you to engineering, Shirley and Linda and BCA for working together. A lot of stuff around this bridge over the last couple of years too. I just had a question regarding the correspondence. Did we receive any correspondence from any of the other two bidders?
No, we did not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. So, Commissioner Rivas, and then I'll go.
So, yeah, in addition to thanking Shirley and the Bureau of Engineering, I also want to thank River LA, for getting this bridge started. And I'm also excited that we're able to take it over and get it done within 2 years. The questions I have, one for Shirley, I guess, in terms, you mentioned that this type of bridge is a new type of bridge for the city. And I have questions about the maintenance of it. Do we know how different it is, or about how much that will be to maintain that type of bridge, or do we have that expertise in the Bureau?
Initially last year when I went to council committee and maintenance was discussed, we had spoken to the city of Reading, and they do have a cable stay pedestrian bridge, and at that time we roughly used their cost. It came out roughly, I think, $100,000 a year. But then, what happens is they have a glass bottom and we don't. So we reduced our estimate. Subsequent to that, we have been calling around the nation. There are other pedestrian cable stays, and we're waiting for some responses. But it appears that the tuning of the cables, they occur every 5 years, and then that costs roughly $75,000 to $80,000 each time. And other than that, they have had some basically minor repainting of the bridge itself, but it did not appear to be as high as the city of Reading's costs. So we're still compiling more data, so hopefully we will have that in the near future.
Thanks. And I have one question for Linda, too. You mentioned that there was a subcontractor, GNC, that submitted their bid late, right, to the prime, but they would have qualified as a DBE?
They are a DBE,
Oh, they are.
yes.
Do you know about what percentage that would raise the overall DBE pledged percentage?
That I'm not sure about. I know that they are looking to have them supply some material, so it will they are one of those companies that it may be as a broker or a supplier, I'm not sure. But either way, you're right, it will result in some increase. And I do need to apologize. I misspoke a moment ago. I forgot about this particular project. We did have communication with the second low bidder, but we didn't go into detail since we're not recommending to them.
But no protest from them? that ended up
They-
here today. I mean,
No, they,
yeah.
well, so when Caltrans had informed us that they did not want, that they didn't believe Reyes had, had met the DBE requirements, we had started looking at the second low bidder in the event that Reyes would not be able to convince us otherwise, which we were pleasantly surprised. But we were looking at the second low bidder and their good faith efforts since they had pledged a much lower DBE. We did actually, we had recommended or drafted a DBE fail, in which case we also offered them a reconsideration hearing. They had their hearing, but they really did not offer anything, nor did they respond when we gave them the information that Mr. Reamer was not changing or overruling our recommendation subsequent to the reconsideration hearing.
Hey, thank you, Ms. McGlinchey, for clearing that up. So just so, again, so now with the first low bid, the second low bid, not a lot of money apart between those two, but the DBE and the good faith effort, the Bureau of Contract Administration feels is much stronger with the first low bidder.
In terms, if you were to compare them, there really isn't a comparison.
Okay. In favor of the first low bid?
Correct.
Okay, well, that clears that up. All right, thank you. Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, I wanted to ask in the future, in fact, if there are opportunities for subcontracting, that they still have the opportunity to add on to that as they progress with the work. Is that correct?
Absolutely, and Reyes has expressed to us that that is their policy, that they do ongoing efforts.
Sure, great. And I think, though, unfortunately, even though we weren't able to meet the deadline, one thing we can count on with the federal government is that they're very rigorous in their goals and objectives in terms of achieving diversity. And there is absolutely no question in terms of that. And I think as we look before us today of those that have presented, even considering the second, none of them have performed to the degree that the one that you're submitting, Reyes, has, obviously, clearly, beyond any question, done much better towards the goal than anyone else who has competed. So it's very clear to me in terms of the decision here as we move forward in the future to kind of embrace any opportunity. But I think that it's clear that Reyes is the one who has done the best performance.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. So I have a couple of questions. I wanted to also thank everybody that I think Commissioner Penning's description was accurate on the term gymnastics with getting us here today, but gymnastics in a process that has been thorough with the council offices and with their help and the long hours and the work of their staff, with Bureau of Engineering, Contract Administration, we appreciate it. And I want to add the City Attorney's Office as well. Mr. Jordan, thank you for your work and the work of your colleagues on this. And Shirley, one of the questions I have is, Dr. Campos too, I want to thank you. The work and the paperwork with the Mayor's Office and the Bureau of Engineering on the board report and working out the Public Works Trust Fund loan. So there was a little press on this recently. And there's a reference to what was originally, as you talked about and Commissioner Penning talked about, starting out as this private gift of approximately $5 million in earlier years. We got the $3.88 million that's been wired already, which is amazing. And I don't know if I have a question as much as I just have a comment. That was several years ago. And so the life of this project in getting here is not brief. It's a long time. And when we went to bid on this, the market for this bridge was dictated to us in the bids. And the bids were from $12 million on the 12.5 on the low end to, was it 20 million on the high end?
That's correct.
Okay. Recognizing that there was one that was a bit higher than others, but we went with a low bid here. So what we are doing, what the market requires of us to get this project built. And yes, it is more than the original amount of money that was discussed several years ago. But we also have a bridge that is a public-private partnership in the sense that we have the $3.88 million from the private donation. We have 3.6 from roughly?
Yes, 3.66 from
Yeah,
Caltrans.
right. From Caltrans, the federal government, and then we have the balance for the city. So half of this bridge is from partnership funding, and so I know it's been a long road getting here, but the formula helped us get here, and I appreciate everyone that participated in it. In particular, the private donation that stuck with us in the council office, that Council District 13 and Council District 4 too, that helped work it all out. So thank you. I guess after all that, I don't really have a question. I just wanted to make the record clear that there are reasons, obviously, that one number in an earlier year is a different number today, and some people were inquisitive as to what those reasons were, and I wanted our record to reflect it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further? Is there a motion by Commissioner Repenning on number 16? Is there a second? By Commissioners Davis and Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 16. Any issues sending 16 forthwith? We'll send 16 forthwith. Ms. Lau, thank you.
Thank you.
Please thank Ms. Weintraub, Ms. McGlinchey, thank you. Agenda item, I think we are at number 12. Let's see where I am. 9, 10, 11 was continued. Number 12, contract amendment, Safe Sidewalks LA Sidewalk Repair Program. Recommending that the board first authorize the Office of Community Beautification to execute a contract amendment with the Los Angeles Conservation Corps in the amount of $87,000 for the period of May 1, 2017, until all funds are expended for tree planting services related to the Safe Sidewalks LA Sidewalk Repair Program. Jason Valencia. Sir, is this your first time to present before the board?
Good afternoon. No, I did a OCB presentation when you folks were in Council District 5. You weren't there that day.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't miss many days. So as far as I'm concerned, it's your
For
first
you,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, all right. So go ahead.
All righty. Good afternoon, folks. Jason Valencia with the Office of Community Beautification. We are kindly requesting that the board approve a contract amendment with LACC, the Los Angeles Conservation Corps, contract number 124509, in the amount of $87,000 for approximately 116 trees for the sidewalk repair program. As you folks know, the sidewalk repair program is well underway right now. Safe Sidewalks LA is what it's called. And a lot of trees are being removed, and to satisfy the city's 2-to-1 tree replacement policy, we need to quickly and expeditiously plant these trees, and we decided to hire LACC to perform such work. As so, we ask for approval on this amendment for LACC.
Well, Mr. Roch usually makes these brief presentations. Mr. Valencia, had I known you were going to be the presenter today, I might have come with a notebook of cross-examination questions and put on my former prosecutor hat just for your enjoyment, but I didn't have the preparation time, so I don't have any questions at this time. Commissioner Repenning will start, though.
Is so these are the additional trees needed to get to 2-to-1 where we can't necessarily get to 2-to-1 on site, I'm guessing. Is there an area defined in this contract, or is it broad?
So as you folks are familiar, the Safe Sidewalk LA program has 3 subcomponents, if you will, to it: the access program, the rebate program, and the general BOE work that they're doing. And these trees are all trees from all 3 sub-programs. And except for the rebate program, the rebate applicant is responsible for the planting of the first tree, and all other trees, including the access and general BOE work, is covered under this amendment here.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further? All right, so we're amending, which we do a lot of these, Los Angeles Conservation Corps. Mr. Campos, we might get an update. What I'm wondering is if I want to put it on the agenda or if we want to just have an offline conversation on upcoming amendments and on some of these contracts, if we even know of them, and then status of the contracts in general. Does that make sense to you?
It does. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. To respond to your question, President James, we have quarterly meetings from the Office of Community Beautification. We can add that topic to the next quarterly meeting. I believe we just had it about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. So the next go-around, we can add that topic to the discussion. Or if this board prefers, we can have a discussion separately as well.
Why don't you add it to your meeting, and then you can come let me know what comes out of that, and then we can decide if we want to put something on the agenda.
That sounds great.
Okay, great. Anything further on this agenda item? I'll make a motion that, see, you talked me into it already, Mr. Valencia. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 12, seconded by Commissioner Cento. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 12. Any issue sending 12 forthwith? We will send number 12 forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 13, contract amendment number 10, tree planting and maintenance on Ventura Boulevard in Council District 3. Authorize the Office of Community Beautification to execute a contract amendment with Los Angeles Conservation Corps C124509 in the amount of $41,000 for tree planting and maintenance along Ventura Boulevard between Krebs Avenue and Lindley Avenue in Council District 3. Mr. Valencia.
These funds, we will also doing a contract amendment with the Los Angeles Conservation Corps, contract 124509. We're going to tie these funds into one amendment with the previous board report. Councilmember Blumenfield already transferred the funds, and planting has already occurred. So we need to get these funds to the contractors ASAP.
And Mr. Owens looks like he supports it. And he's still here. All right. So any questions on agenda item number 13? Thank you for the funding. Mr. Owens, thank the councilman. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 13. Is there a second? By Commissioners Rivas and Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 13. Any problem sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 14. Council District 4, contract award McCadden Place, Beverly Boulevard to 3rd Street Reconstruction Project. Recommending that the board declare Sully Miller Contracting Company, that's Sully Miller, the first low bidder, to be the lowest responsible bidder, and award Sully Miller a contract for the project for $496,000. And second, authorize myself or 2 members of the Board of Public Works to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney, Vernon Tabarar. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, go ahead.
President James and distinguished members of the board and representative from the Bureau of Sanitation, Street Lighting, Engineering, and the City Attorney and Contract Administration. Anyway, I just want to make correction. My name is Vernon Tabarara. I represent the Street and Stormwater Division, the Street Improvement Group. This is my first time here. Just bear with me. And,
welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm just going to go through the board report, this is just a request to award the contract for the McCadden Place between 2nd Street and 3rd Street. This is just a one block of a street reconstruction project that will replace the existing deteriorated concrete pavement. And this is within the City Council District 4, and the project has been reviewed for environmental consideration. It was determined to be categorically exempt to the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act of 1971 under Article 3 of the city's CEQA guidelines. The contractor that will be awarded this project is Sully Miller, who came out to be like a point, or rather 21% lower than our city engineer's estimate. There are only two contractors that bid on the project. The other one is American Asphalt, which is they are about only 9.21% lower than the city engineer's estimate. Sully Miller is being recommended to be awarded for this project, besides being the lowest bidder. They were able to meet the requirements of the MBE, but they weren't able to meet the WB minimum requirements, and SBE they were above the minimum requirement. As far as the EBE, BVE, OBE, they were all 0%. And this project is, the funding source is called the Engineering Special Services Fund. And that's all I can say about the project. And all I request is to have this project awarded so we can get the project going.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about repair of concrete streets in Council District 4. I know it was a big deal in the last election. We did some work in Council District 4 on concrete streets last fiscal year, and I know that the council member is spending some discretionary funds on concrete street work this fiscal year too. I know the community is very anxious to see this contract be awarded. I was pleased to see that the two bids came in fairly below our city estimate, which I thought was interesting. Any questions on agenda item number 14? I don't have any questions. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 14. Seconded by Commissioners Davis and Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 14. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Any issue sending 14 forthwith? We will send 14 forthwith. Number 15. Thank you for your patience, by the way, everybody who's still here. Council Districts 1 and 13, Contract Award, Bureau of Engineering and Contract Administration, First Street Viaduct over Glendale Boulevard project. Recommending that the board declare Steve P. Rados Incorporated, the first low bidder, to be the lowest responsible bidder, and award them a contract for this project for $10,761,949.75, and authorize myself or two members of the Board of Public Works to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained by the city attorney. Mr. Tran on agenda item number 15.
Good afternoon. Doug Tran, Bureau of Engineering Bridge Improvement Program. This report is to request the board to award a construction contract for the First Street Viaduct over Glendale Boulevard to Steve Rados, who is the lowest responsive bidder for this project. The proposed project is located in northwest downtown Los Angeles. The existing viaduct is approximately 974 feet long, 51 feet wide, carrying 4 lanes of traffic on the viaduct. The project objective is to correct the existing geometric deficiencies of the bridge, to do a seismic update of the foundations, and to preserve the historic status of the bridge itself. The construction contract is 750 days. Four bids were received. The lowest bid is in the amount of $10,761,949.75. This project is federally funded. 80% will be participated by a federal highway bridge program. The 11% will be paid by the state, Proposition 1B for seismic retrofit projects. The project was advertised with DBA goal of 8.17%. The contractor had a pledge of commitment of 8.42%. Based on the bids received, the Bureau of Engineering staff recommend to the board to declare Steve Rado to be the first low bidder, to be the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, and award the contract to Steve Rado.
So, Mr. Tran, question, I'm very familiar with this bridge in the traffic area. We've got another federally funded project, that's great. So some of this, and I saw that the bids came in a little, well, almost 14% higher than our estimate.
Yeah, roughly 14% higher than city engineer estimate.
And so the Bureau of Engineering is satisfied that that's the best we're going to get?
The city engineer estimate is based on the unit price, Caltrans unit price, so from last year. So I can see that it's approximately about 3 to 5% lower than the actual amount. The second thing is that I believe the contractors see the complexity and the challenges of the project in terms of traffic.
You went right to my next point. Yeah, go ahead.
Utilities and the historic preservation requirements. So their bids is higher.
Yeah, just the traffic issue alone around there, I could see if, I didn't know if our city estimate, thank you for your answer to my question regarding some of the bases for our city estimate, but when you don't take that into account, the contractors are. Thus, you're going to have a bit of a delta there. All right. Anybody else, any questions on agenda item number 15? Happy to see these projects coming in. So I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 15, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt number 15. Any issue sending 15 forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think we have done all of our voting items. Have we? Oh, no. Oh, we have another voting item. 19. Okay.
The motion on item number 19 is still pending.
Let's see, number 19. Oh. Council Districts 2, 4, 8, 10, 11, and 13. This is a sidewalk repair program, package 35. We don't want to miss this one. Recommending that the board authorize the execution of the construction order for the sidewalk repair program, package 35 project to Mike Perlich and Sons Incorporated in the amount of $1,425,977 with a not to exceed limit of $1,782,471.25. Ms. Kim on number 19. Thank you for your patience.
Sure, save the best for last, right?
Absolutely.
Good afternoon. I'm Alice Kim. I'm with the Bureau of Engineering Sidewalk Division. I am here to request the board to authorize the execution of the construction order for package number 35 for the sidewalk repair program in the amount of $1,425,977 to repair 9 sites, including city facilities, which includes the recreation center and fire station, as well as residential neighborhoods. Now, these sites were prioritized by 6 council districts based on those who are greatest need of sidewalk repair. The sidewalk repair program was allocated $31 million for this fiscal year 2016-17 in response to the Willits versus City of Los Angeles settlement agreement. Due to the importance of this agreement, we received authorization from Commissioner Jacinto on January 26, 2017, to go ahead and use the emergency pre-qualified on-call geotech structural contractor list to bid package number 35. On January 27, 2017, bids were solicited from 7 pre-qualified on-call geotechnical structural contractor list. And the following month, on February 14, 2017, 4 bids were received, and the lowest responsible bidder for package 35 was Mike Perlich and Sons Incorporated. The scope of work includes replacement of sidewalk, curb ramps, driveways, curbs and gutter, asphalt concrete patching, tree root and canopy pruning, tree removal, tree planting, and replacement of traffic and street lighting pole boxes. The funding source was made available on May 22, 2017,
when the City Administrative Office, the CAO, made a technical correction to the 2016-17 mid-year financial status report, Council File number 16-0600-S173, to the appropriate sidewalk account. In conclusion, it is our recommendation to execute construction order for package number 35, an amount of $1,425,977 and not to exceed limit of $1,782,471.25 to Mike Perlich and Sons.
Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Let's go live with package 35, Alice. Thank you for waiting. I'm glad that we're able to work with the districts in prioritizing the different sites. It's sort of a centralized program with the decentralized partnership with the district's 9 sites. It's so important that we continue the work, so I support this wholeheartedly, and thank you for your work on this.
Sure. Thank you. Anybody else? I don't have any questions. Although, Ms. Kim, if you might stay just a few more minutes, I have an offline question for you on another matter.
Sure.
Okay. So Commissioner Sintel's made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 19, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 19. Any issues sending 19 forthwith? We will send 19 forthwith. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience. Number 22, Sherry at last. Sherry Kuroki. Now, I want to apologize to you. First of all, you get a gold star today. I want to apologize to you. When I see these agendas, and I knew how long our agenda was today, I should have sent you a message saying, show up about 11:30.
Yeah.
So I apologize to you and the taxpayers of Los Angeles. I did not manage that very well because I knew it was going to be a while before you would get to the item being an oral report. With that said, go ahead.
Okay. I usually don't say this, but good afternoon, Commissioners, Bureau Rep, City Attorney, Executive Officer. I'm Sherry Kuroki. I'm with Sanitation. This will be a short report. We have one.
All the more reason I should have had you come in
okay.
later. And yes.
One contract will be renewed. It's the contract with Conejo Crest Landscape. It's for the Japanese garden landscape site services. This contract has, I've spoken about this contract several times before the board in previous reports. It was actually renewed. The board approved the renewal option last week, a one-year renewal option. We're also going to be drafting an amendment to extend the contract term to allow us time to distribute an RFQ for landscape services for all of LA Sand facilities.
So I have a couple questions on this one. So, so we have a one-year renewal, which we approved.
Correct.
And that, as you said, that's just to provide the time for the RFQ to go out.
Actually, yeah. So actually, the renewal options provide the time for I made a mistake. So the one renewal option, we're drafting an amendment currently. It's actually going to be coming to the board soon. It's about to go down to ConAd for review. And then that amendment is going to be for 2 years. And then that 2 years is going to buy us time to distribute a request for qualifications for new services and prepare a new contract.
Okay. And you feel like the Bureau feels like that much time will be needed on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it takes longer than you think.
Okay. And how is your satisfaction with the performance of the existing contract?
I haven't heard any complaints.
Okay.
And I've seen the garden. It looks great.
Okay. Yeah. So I would just, Commissioners Rivas and Jacinto, no complaints on your end? And okay, great. All right. Do you know how old the contract is to date?
We executed the contract back in 2013.
So it's not that old.
It's not that old. We were using another contractor for a big length of time prior to that.
Okay. All right. That's all the questions I had. Anything
Great.
else?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Again, thank you for your patience, Sherry. I owe you one. I'm going to put you in the front of the agenda next time, even though you're an oral report. All right. Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Not yet. We still have a report from the Bureau of Engineering.
Oh, I'm
from
sorry, we have
Edmund
another.
Yu.
I've got,
And just for the record,
I only saw one person sitting, yeah.
And just for the record, Bureau of Street Lighting, Bureau of Street Services, and Contract Administration do not have anything to report on this
Got
item.
it. Okay, so
After
Edmund,
Mr.
go
Yu,
ahead.
yes, you will clear the desk.
Right, okay.
Yeah, good afternoon. Edmund Yu, Bureau of Engineering. BOE has identified a total of 21 contracts expiring within the next 90 days. All the contracts are under what we call the pre-qualified on-call contract, providing wastewater and environmental engineering consultant services on a pre-qualified as needed basis for the wastewater program. All the contracts will be expiring on July 12, 2017. At this time, we are not anticipating that we will need to request for a term extension. The Bureau at this time is working on a new group for the pre-qualified on-call contract for the wastewater and environmental, and we anticipate that we will be submitting a report requesting the board's authority to execute this contract in the very near future.
And can the near future down?
Well, hopefully, this contract is going to expire in July 12th.
Okay.
So we would like the goal is to get it in before the actual expiration date.
Always a good idea.
Yes.
Okay. Anything further? Any questions for Mr. Yu? All right.
I do.
Commissioner Ascento.
Thank you. I just want to thank our Bureau of Contract Administration for working with us to make sure we can try to get all those contracts.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk now?
Yes, you have.
Okay, then no management meeting today. It's late in the well, it's late in the morning, but early in the afternoon. So we are adjourned, everyone. Have a nice weekend. Thank you.